Excellent. Okay, so my name is Claire Hollywood, and I want to thank you for being here at this challenging time on planet Earth. I was actually called to do this. I felt a very strong need to share positive messages for everyone at this time. And really wanted to help and raise the vibration on the planet in any way that I could. So Spirit encouraged me to start this course. So I'm going to cover a lot of topics today. You can feel free to use the chat box if you'd like to communicate your intentions for today's webinar. And also, I'd like to encourage you to use the Q&A box. I'm not going to get to the Q&A part until the end of the webinar, assuming we do have enough time. And you'll also have my email address, so if for any reason you have a personal question that you would like addressed, you can go ahead and just email me with that. So some of you may have been on my call last week, and I have a noisy dog next door, so you're going to hear her throughout the whole thing. Her name's Clara. So I just wanted to cover more information than I was able to touch on in last week's webinar, and get a little deeper into some of the tools and techniques that you can use, both traditional practical tools and also energy tools. And I'm actually going to introduce you to some 5D tools, because in my opinion, what's happening right now is that this is a reboot on planet Earth. And this is giving us the catalyst to help us to step into the 5th dimensional energies. So anybody who's on this call is a light worker, an empath, and/or a sensitive. And you know that there has been a massive awakening going on in the planet since pretty much the year 2000. Certainly 2012 was also a big turning point for us. But this, I believe, is also a part of the awakening process and the ascension process. And it's causing a ripple effect around the earth. One of the things that I am so grateful for, I'm always trying to look at the silver lining. One of the things that I am so grateful for is that it's the first time that I know of where the entire world has come together to focus on one particular issue at the exact same time, with no prejudice and no judgment. We're all looking at this as if we are one, and we're trying to maintain and handle this situation for the highest good of all. And if that's not an awakening of unity consciousness, I don't know what is. So I'm just grateful that we're working together right now. And I know that in the face of crisis, when we do come together, we can get through anything. So if you're a light worker, an empath, or a sensitive, you are probably feeling the energy of the collective, and you may be feeling it in your physical body, or you can be feeling it in your emotional body, or both. So if you found yourself having a tremendous amount of anxiety and depression, much of that energy may not be your own. You actually can be pulling it in from the collective. So I'm going to share some tools with you so that you can discern what energy is yours and what energy belongs to other people. I'm also going to teach you how to have better boundaries so that your energy is whole and complete, and that you can be a sovereign, self-ruling individual. So just out of curiosity, in the chat box, if you don't mind putting down what your experience is, if you are an empath, or if you're a light worker, or you're a sensitive, I would really appreciate you dropping that in the chat box. So light workers, let me see. Lightworkers are the people who are on the planet right now who are anchoring in the energy of divine love, and they're sharing that energy on the planet. They're helping us to transcend the fear that is happening on the planet, and also showing the rest of the world through their example how to live in the vibration of love. We're going to be talking about the consciousness mapping, the work of Dr. David Hawkins, and we want to be vibrating at 500 or above. That's the consciousness of love. And when we get into that vibration of 500, that's when we are creating heaven on earth. And that's when we're going to be truly living from the heart. But I'm going to get into that a little bit further. So here I go with the presentation. Okay. So as I said, my name is Claire Hollywood. I am an energy worker, a coach. I work in the Akashic Records. I've been helping people for over 6 years now on a full-time basis improve their lives. So people come to me with different goals, physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual, or a combination. And I help them to get focused on their goals and find ways of getting in alignment with what it is that they truly are desirous of, so that they can manifest the life that will give them the greatest satisfaction and fulfillment. My website is healthyalchemy.com, and if you haven't already joined, you will be added to my mailing list after attending this event. So as I mentioned, my belief, and I'm just sharing my beliefs here. I'm sure that many of you are probably going to resonate, considering that we come from the same community of Lightworkers. But anything that I share with you, I'm not forcing on you. Certainly use your own discrimination. What feels right to you is what's right for you. So take what works for you and leave the rest behind. So we are in reboot mode right now. And when we have tremendous crisis, it presents the opportunity for transformation. So that's exactly what's happening right now. We are in the chrysalis stage, that time when the caterpillar is morphing into the butterfly, and it's a very uncomfortable stage. It's a time when nothing fits, where you don't know if you're going to live or die. You don't know if this new experience is going to be something that you're truly desirous of. So that's exactly what's happening on the planet. And the best thing for us to do in times like this is to focus on self-care, to get back to the basics. And the beautiful thing, one of the beautiful things that have come out of this, is that we all have a lot more free time on our hands now. So the things that we haven't been able to get to, we can get to. My suggestion is that you prioritize those things and make your own personal self-care more important than just some of the busy work that you can find. So I'm going to talk to you about some of the personal care techniques that you can utilize that can help you to transform yourself during this time. I'm actually going to take myself off camera right now. It's just going to be a little easier for me to focus. So give me a second. Okay, maybe I'm not. Okay. All right. So what I'd like to propose to you is, what if this virus is actually part of the divine plan? What if this virus was just one of the catalysts that was serving us in our ascension process? Like I said, we all know that the ascension process has been in effect for a while now. And we needed to bring the whole planet together in unity in order to get to the next level. So another thing that, has given me some peace is that the timing for this, the earth spins regardless of what goes on in our life. We don't have to wake up and wonder, is the earth spinning? Is the sun going to come out today? Am I going to have all of my needs met as far as the environment is concerned. We don't have to worry about these things. When we wake up in the morning, we're focused on our own life. And we are just a tiny piece of the entire cosmos. The cosmos is this beautiful orchestrated system that manages completely on its own. And it happens in cycles and rhythms. Everything happens cyclically and rhythmically. So the fact that this is happening around the holidays of rebirth and being reborn, also at the time of spring and the vernal equinox, is pretty interesting to me. And that gives me more comfort that this is something we are in alignment with the divine plan, and that good things, I know it's going to take a little time, but good things I'm believing are going to come out of this. So I don't want you to get swept up in the mass hysteria. We've been too busy for a long time, and now we have plenty of time to do the things that are important to us. This is a very, very, very heavy time, and you need to take care of yourself. So I want you to consider that, the universe is a benevolent place. And that it is working towards our own personal evolution and the evolution of all humanity and the planet. And that even though some things show up that we may judge as negative, they're all serving a purpose. And when we can trust in that benevolent universe, we have greater faith. And it also helps us to, ride the waves of these challenges. So I want you to really try and be conscious and be aware during this time. As you do that, you're going to be able to make better choices. And that's another one of the wonderful things that is coming out of this, is that we're all having an opportunity to basically look back on our lives and reflect and choose, what is really working for me and what isn't working for me, because a lot of things are going to change. And we are going to have to be able to be in flow and be able to adapt to all the changes that are happening. So, we are shifting into 5D, and we're going to talk a little bit about that a little later. But I also want to mention to you that we are at a point on the planet where we are at critical mass. And when we're at critical mass, that means major shifts are going to happen. And we only need 51% of the population to be holding the vibration of love in order for the planet to move into a higher frequency. And we are already at that critical point. So this is one of the other blessings that's coming out of this challenge. So let me give you some bigger picture stuff here right now. So as I mentioned, one of the things that I do is I work in the Akashic Records, which is a record of the history of everything that has happened across all time, space, dimension, and reality. And there is basically a record for every single soul and all of the lifetimes of those souls. So in my experience in working with the Akashic Record, I feel very strongly that every soul that came to be here on this planet at this time is a warrior. Everyone who chose to be here knew that this was going to be a challenging yet highly rewarding time, and that we were going to be able to rise above the challenges and bring the earth into a higher frequency where we could basically embody more of our soul. And when we do that, when we embody more of our infinite self, we actually are raising the vibration on the planet, and we're creating an environment of heaven on earth. So this is where I believe that we're headed. So I know that I believe your soul chose to be here, and you chose to awaken yourself and others. And I know that many people today are being so much kinder. I'm sure you've noticed that. People are being much more thoughtful. This is a dark night of the soul right now for planet Earth. And the darkest hour is just before the dawn. So your job is to be the light right now and to hold that frequency of love, to hold that frequency of peace, of unity, of joy, to be mindful. And as you do that, as you embody more of your infinite self, you are setting an example for everyone you come in contact with. And not only are you going to be raising your own vibration, but your presence is going to raise the vibration of everyone around you. And you're going to be able to lift your loved ones and your acquaintances in vibration just by being you. So you are someone's teacher. And not only are you working on awakening yourself, you're working on awakening others. But the way that we do this is by making our own work the priority. When we focus on what it is that we have to work on, we're healing ourselves. And as we do that, we raise our vibration. And then that creates a ripple effect in the world. So we don't need to focus on what's happening outside of us. The true work is being done internally. And as we do that work inside, what happens around us starts to change. The outer world is just a reflection of our inner world. So if the inner world on a consciousness level changes on the planet is going to change in alignment with that. So I want to encourage you to remember that you are the light in the darkness right now, and you came here at this time. And that doesn't mean that you have to have classes or you have to have clients. Everything that you do, you can infuse more divine love and light into it. And just doing that makes you a light worker. So I also want to encourage you to take time to set your intentions several times a day, especially when you notice that your vibration is dropping. So one of the most powerful things that we can do in manifesting is setting intentions. We send out a signal to the universe. We're electromagnetic beings. That's why doctors do EKGs and EEGs and MRIs. They're reading our electromagnetic field. So we send out a signal to the universe, and then that signal gets reflected back on us. Most of you know it as the law of attraction. But what it really says is, the universe says, I love Claire so much that wherever she puts her attention, that's what I will give her more of. So if your dominant intention is around anxiety and worry, what do you think you're going to be getting back more of? When you take the time to really get in check and rise above the thoughts, because much of the thoughts that you're thinking aren't even your own. And this is one of the tools that I'll be teaching in the course. But much of the thoughts that you're thinking are not even your own. You may have inherited them from your family of origin, from the society, from the collective, from your teacher, minister, whoever. Bottom line is, you have choice when it comes to your thoughts, and you can learn where to put your thoughts. So multiple times a day, you should set your intention and visualize whatever you can see in your mind's eye and see in your heart. You can manifest in the physical. Your thoughts are electric, your emotions are magnetic, and together they create an electromagnetic field, which is your belief system. If you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. You've all heard that quote from Henry Ford. So if we believe that we can do something, we can do it. If we believe we can't, then we're not going to be able to. So when we create a thought and an emotion and link the two together, that creates an electromagnetic belief. And that's the first step in anchoring it into the physical plane. So my recommendation to you would be to write out a couple of intentions that really resonate with you, that get you inspired, that make you feel good, that keep you focused on what you need to be focused on right now at this time. And put it on a Post-it note and, put a few of them around the house, in the bathroom, at your bedside table, if you want, in your car, so that you're regularly reminding yourself of what it is that you do desire, and you're overriding. When you do this, you're paying attention to what it is. You're becoming more conscious of what it is that you're telling yourself, and you can override any of those thoughts and emotions that aren't really in alignment with what you're looking to manifest. So let's all close our eyes right now, and let's just take a moment to set our intention for today's call. So I would recommend that you create a blessing ball. This is one of the tools I taught on the last class. It's a wonderful intention setting tool. As I said, we are electromagnetic beings, and we actually have energy coming out of our hands. When we open up our hand chakras, we can actually feel a ball of energy. So let's get our hand chakras open. So a good way to do that is to clap your hands. Rub your palms together, get a little spiritual heat going, and flick your hands like you're flicking water off of them. And then when you bring your hands together, you're actually going to get a sensation of a ball in between your hands, or you might just feel some tingling or some heat in your hands. Just focus on it and imagine that there is a ball of energy there, and you're eventually going to be able to sense it. The closer you have your hands together, the easier it's going to be. The more you work with this, eventually you'll be able to have your hands really wide apart. So let's set our intention. We're going to imagine that this ball of energy is our intention ball, and we're going to invite in all of our angels, our guides, our masters, and our teachers. For everyone who is here on the call today, and for everyone who's going to be joining on the replay. We invite them all in and ask them to surround us in their love, light, and protection. And we're going to thank them for what it is we desire. This is another manifesting technique. We don't want to ask, we don't want to beg, we don't want to pray. The way that we lock in the experience is by stating it as if we already have it. So we're going to say, thank you, angels, guides, masters, and teachers, for sharing your healing energies and unconditional love with this group in the midst of this global crisis. Thank you for healing all of those who are sick with the virus. May they regain their strength and health quickly. Surround them if they worry and grieve, and support their family as well as they rise above this disease and the despair around it. May they know your peace. Thank you for all of the people who are in support roles, keeping us functioning at this challenging time. The medical workers, everybody else who's keeping things going. Keep them healthy and strong. Defend them from illness and exhaustion. Thank you for alchemizing the fear that's on earth and transmuting it into divine love. For transmuting the anxiety into peace. Give us faith and trust in your benevolence. Be with all the leaders of all the nations on earth and assist them in guiding us to a speedy recovery on a global basis on all levels. As the old systems break down, inspire us to find solutions that support the rebirthing of humanity and earth. Give our leaders foresight to act for the well-being of the people that they serve. Give them the wisdom to invest in long-term solutions that will help us prepare for a healthy future. Thank you for returning us to wholeness, restoring us to harmony, unity, cooperation, and peace on planet Earth for the most benevolent outcome for all. I'm going to be quiet for a moment. You can send your personal intentions into your ball. If you know anyone who's been affected, any families who are affected with the virus or affected in any way, we're all being affected. Send in your personal intentions. for all your loved ones and the planet. And then we're going to take that blessing ball when we feel complete, and we're going to place it in our heart. And we're going to breathe it into every cell of our being. Imagine your entire energy field and all of the cells of your body filled with this energy. Let it resonate within you. And when you feel complete, you're going to take your hands away from your heart. You're going to shoot that energy out to the universe. And then you go like this. No more. All done. And you basically surrender that intention to the universe. So that is a really powerful way of setting your intentions. I do it all the time when people reach out to me and they say that, you know, they or a loved one is having surgery or needs a little assistance. I do a blessing ball for them individually. You can even do blessing balls for groups, as we just did. But this is a wonderful tool to have in your toolbox. And then you surrender the outcome to the universe. So you don't start looking around and say, why isn't this showing up yet? It's taking too long. We just planted the seeds, and we're going to trust that the universe is going to follow up for the most benevolent outcome for all. Okay, so we're going to take another moment now to create a sacred circle. So another blessing that has come out of this situation is that we have technology and we have internet. Had this happened at an earlier time in the world, imagine the isolation and how everyone would feel. The wonderful thing is we still feel connected. Even though we're quarantined, even though we're isolated, we still have the ability to connect. And all we need to do is connect in our minds and in our hearts, and we are fully connected to all of humanity. So let's create a sacred space for us to work in. Get comfortable in your seat and imagine this beautiful circle of golden light. As we create a sacred space for our healing tonight, imagine this golden circle of light and imagine yourself stepping into the circle. When you step into the circle, imagine that you're holding hands with the people on either side of you and send them love and gratitude and feel it be returned to you. Imagine you're reaching out and saying hello to everyone. Feel yourself connecting with everyone in the circle, heart to heart and soul to soul. We're not alone. Let your awareness expand. And let's imagine that we're connecting this circle of light with all of the circles of light that are surrounding the planet now. All of the positive intentions that are going out for humanity. Imagine that we're connecting with all of the light workers and all of the sacred circles that are supporting Mother Earth and humanity at this time. Connecting with all the global activations and the beings of light in the higher dimensions. And now let's send a wave of divine light around the planet. Like a beautiful baby blanket. Imagine that you're wrapping the planet so that everyone feels safe, loved, cared for, and at peace. Imagine that beautiful circle of light rising up into the heavens and joining in with all of the other circles of light and intention balls that are of the same frequency, expanding them and bringing them to even greater frequencies so that they can do more good in the world. So just imagine yourself in the circle again and give gratitude to everyone here for being here today and assisting us all in rising above this tragedy. Okay, so I told you I was going to give you some practical tips, but I'm also going to give you some 5D tips. So many of you in the past have probably put yourself in bubbles of light. Bubbles of light are helpful, but they're not the most powerful tool that you can use in this energy environment. Sacred geometry is a very powerful tool for building the energetic structure of your multidimensional anatomy. So one of the tools that I like to work with is the octahedron of light. So what it is actually 2 4-sided pyramids that are put together at their base so that they create a diamond shape. And this tool actually eventually turns into the Merkaba. But before you step into the Merkaba, you have to have the octahedron firmly grounded in your energy field. So I'd like everybody to imagine that they're holding a white rose. A rose is actually a super powerful tool for transformation. It has one of the highest vibrations on the planet, and there's no negativity around it. And because of that, it can transmute tremendous energy. It also is representative of many of the higher dimensional beings of light, like Mother Mary and many others. So when you have a rose has its own grounding cord. That's its stem. So you can use it to transmute energy. So I want you to imagine right now that you have a white rose in front of you at arm's length. And then I want you to imagine that you have another one on your right side. Again, at arm's length. One behind you at arm's length, and one on your left at arm's length. Imagine you have one over your head and one below your feet. And now we're going to connect the dots. So we're going to start with the rose in front of us, and we're going to connect it to the one on our right, to the one at our back, to the one at our left, and back around to the one in the front. And each of those roses are going to send a line up to the one over our crown, and also down to the one below our feet. So the one above our crown is at our soul star chakra, and the one below our feet is at our earth star chakra. These are chakras that are outside of our physical energy body, and you can learn more about them in the course. So imagine now that you are firmly in your octahedron of light. So this is a tool for discerning whose energy is in your field. I told you earlier we were going to touch on this. And this is also a tool for returning your energy field to wholeness and sovereignty. So what you can do is imagine that these white roses are absorbing all of the energy in your field that is not your own. So you just basically command them. Command them to absorb all of other people's energy that's in your energy field now. And you might want to imagine what those roses are looking like. It depends on what your gifts are. If you see, you sense, you feel, depending on what your strengths are, you may feel the roses changing, you may see the roses changes, you may hear them changing, you may just sense them changing. But imagine them absorbing everybody else's energy out of your field. And now we're going to command them to also remove any energy that is unlike love from your field. So imagine it being all absorbed into those roses. And I'd also like you to command those roses to magnetize back to you all of the energy that is yours, that you have left scattered about across all time, space, and dimension. Wherever you leave your attention, you leave some of your energy behind. So let's invite all that energy to be magnetized back into our field. So you'll see, sense, or feel things happening in your energy field as you do this. You may see, sense, or feel those roses changing. When you feel that the roses have absorbed all that they can absorb and they've magnetized back in your energy, what you want to do is envision them rising up into the great central sun, which is the source of all creation, and imagine them just disintegrating in the light, taking all that energy to be transformed. And then we want to give thanks to our angels, guides, masters, and teachers for keeping our boundaries strong, for keeping our energy field whole and complete. And you can activate your octahedron of light anytime you want. You don't have to go through all the steps I took you through. You only need to do that a few times until you get comfortable with it. And once you get comfortable with it, then all you need to do is say, activate my octahedron of light. So I'm sure you're not spending a lot of time in public these days, but I'm someone who needs to make sure that I have strong boundaries when I'm in public, because other people's energy is very noisy to me and it's stressful for me. So the first thing I always do when I go out in public is activate my octahedron of light. This is a really, really important tool for you. But here's another important tip. You always want to clear out all of the energy from your field before you invite your energy back and before you seal your field. Okay? So make sure that you ask that you're activating the octahedron of light, that those roses absorb all of the energy that is unlike love, any other people's energy from the collective, that it all be absorbed and transformed as they rise up into the light. Again, magnetizing back all of your energy so you are whole and complete. This invites back in soul fragments, parts of you that you may have disassociated from because of traumas in this lifetime, past lifetimes, or parallel lifetimes. This helps you to have a soul retrieval and return those parts of you, which is sometimes called the shadow self. We'll be talking about that more in the course. So tune into your energy field now that your octahedron of light is activated, and just notice how you feel. You're probably going to notice that you feel a little bit more peace. You're probably going to notice that you feel more centered. You're probably feeling a little lighter. Whatever it is that you feel is just fine. So just enjoy the experience and know that you can return to this octahedron of light, like I said, at any time. And I would recommend that you practice with it multiple times a day until you get really good at it, so that when you activate it, you immediately sense the shift. Okay, so moving on. These are some of the topics that we're going to be covering today. We've already touched on a few of them, but how to better care for yourself now. What is your part in all of this? We're going to share some higher perspectives, and we're going to do a healing activation today. So as I said, I'm going to share with you some practical tools, but also some energy tools so that you can detoxify your body right now, because basically we have tons of pent-up energy from the fear paradigm that has been stuck in our energy field. And so a lot of this is being dislodged because of all the trauma that we're experiencing. Everybody's being triggered right now. So you could be experiencing a lot of things, as I said, depending on if you're a physical or an emotional empath or both. You could be experiencing overwhelming anxiety or fear. And also you might be experiencing physical symptoms like I was. So it's very important that you make your personal care the priority at this time. And understand that all of these toxins are actually being pulled up to the surface so that they can be released from your energy field so you can anchor in more light. That is what the ascension process is about. We can't take all this baggage with us. All of these lower frequencies are preventing us from embodying more of our infinite self. So as this higher energy comes down on the planet, it pushes all the stuff that is unlike it up to the surface so that it can make room for the new and higher energies. So it's important that you bless everything that comes up, that you don't judge it, that you don't try and suppress it, have the attitude that it's moving up and out. I even say up and out. Sometimes I just surrender it up to God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it. I just surrender it up. I said, please, thank you for taking this away. Thank you for transmuting this. And then I can return to that quiet space in my heart. And that's usually when I can open up to greater intuition. And by the way, this is another side effect of this awakening that's happening right now on the planet. I'm sure many of you remember 9/11. So many people had spontaneous awakenings at 9/11. I personally, myself, I had an awakening at 9/11. And right before this happened, I received feedback about it also, and they likened it to 9/11. And I remember I received messages about 9/11 when it first happened that were very inspirational. And I wasn't able to share them with anyone at the time because I didn't have a spiritual community around me, and people would have thought I was nuts. But, months later, a lot of people were seeing the things that I had received from spirit at that time. So this is what's happening right now. And just remember that when you get triggered, it's actually your ego that's getting triggered. It's not you getting triggered. It's your ego trying to keep you safe. Your ego's job is to keep you safe, but we have to learn to rise above the ego. We need to learn to observe the ego so that we can choose our response and not react to what's happening. That is the key. All right, so let's talk about survival tips. These are some of the more practical tips. Spending me time every day. Everyone should have at least 10 to 15 minutes a day just for themselves. If you can have more, that's even better. But at least carve out 10 to 15 minutes a day. And right now you have no excuse. So you want to center and ground yourself so that you can be in that place of well-being. And remember that starting off your day on a positive note is one of the most important things that you can do for yourself. So it's going to create momentum for your day. So it should be one of the first things that you do in the morning. And that could be as simple as putting in earphones and listening to a meditation in bed. Or, it could be whatever else that you choose to do from this list. We're also going to talk a little bit about breathing exercises. If you were on the call I did last week, we did a brief breathing exercise. So I want to talk to you about the importance of that. Many people breathe shallow. Most people don't breathe properly, believe it or not. I learned how to breathe properly about 16 years ago when I started doing yoga, and I was shocked that I didn't know how to breathe properly. We oftentimes start breathing properly when we're lying down. So if you have difficulty with this, lying down makes it a little easier. But basically, you should place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly, and just take a natural deep breath. And just notice, where is the breath going? Is it going deep into your abdomen, or is it filling your chest? Most people, especially women, tend to breathe shallow. Part of it is because we're a little self-conscious about our bellies. But we need to make sure that when we breathe in, that the breath goes all the way down into the abdomen and the abdomen expands. And then when we exhale, we pull in belly button to spine. So the belly is going to come in to the spine. So when you breathe in, it goes all the way down to the abdomen, and then the lungs fill once the abdomen is filled. And then we exhale, belly button to spine. So that's step number one. Many people are experiencing weird symptoms like they're shaky, and that's excess energy in your body. You might have restless leg syndrome. That's excess energy that your body is trying to move out. So if you're experiencing these types of things, the first thing that you need to do is get yourself grounded and centered and slow down your breath, okay? When you slow down your breath, you are activating the parasympathetic system, and your whole body goes into homeostasis. And then the energy can be directed exactly where it is that it needs to go. But when you're in fear mode, you're actually decreasing your immune system. All the stress hormones get firing. You go into fight, flight, or freeze. And all the stress hormones start firing, especially cortisol. And when that happens, all of the energy starts going into your stress response because the body doesn't feel safe. So when you can slow down your breathing and get yourself breathing properly, your body will return to homeostasis. And when it does, your body can heal itself and your immune system will be strong. So practicing your breathing is a wonderful thing to do right now. Stretching, yoga, meditation, all very, very important. If you can spend time journaling, I would highly recommend that. I don't know how many of you have done automatic writings, but don't be surprised. A lot of people are channeling creatively because of this awakening that's happening right now, because of coronavirus actually waking them up. Many of my clients and my students have already sent me over automatic writings that they received, poems and stories and guidance. So you just want to get yourself in flow and start writing, and don't think about what it is that you're writing, and you'll find that pretty soon it becomes like a stream of consciousness kind of thing. It just kind of flows through you, and you'll know that it's coming from spirit, because the words that they choose and the way they describe things aren't going to be the typical words that you would use. So try and spend some time in journaling and ask a lot of questions, like, what is my role in this transformation that's happening right now? How can I better serve my family and my loved ones? How can I better serve myself at this time? What changes would be most beneficial for me to make for myself at this time in order to keep myself safe and healthy and sane? So asking those questions, writing them out, you might actually start to feel the energy kick in, and don't be surprised, like I said, if this information starts flowing through you. You all know holding the vibration of gratitude is one of the highest vibrations. And when you're in that space of gratitude, you're just inviting in more to be grateful for. So having a good gratitude practice at this time is really wonderful. So spending time, it's a good thing to write a list. You know, so many of us were taking our lives for granted. And, you know, taking the fresh air for granted and being able to breathe for granted. So all of these things, you know, all of a sudden they become important to us again, and we're realizing how lucky we are. So you might want to make a list of all the things that you have gratitude for. But here's the key. When you do gratitude, you need to be in the emotional state of gratitude. If your emotions aren't in alignment with it, it's not going to be as powerful. The energy of your emotions is much more powerful than the energy of your thoughts. It's thousands of times more powerful electromagnetically. Therefore, it attracts more to you. So it's a good thing that our thoughts aren't always manifesting. The emotional carrier wave is an important part of bringing it in. So when you get into gratitude, make sure you're really feeling the gratitude. That's what's going to amplify your results. Okay, blessing your food and drink and all that's coming up. I already touched on this for you before. If anything's coming up for you emotionally, physically, bless it, thank it, surrender it up into the light. But people are concerned right now, obviously, about who's handled their food, who's handled their drinks, if, whatever, if somebody had infected it. So it's really important that you take time to bless your food and your drink. This actually changes the consciousness of what it is that you're consuming. If you're not familiar with the work of Dr. Emoto, E-M-O-T-O, you can go ahead and look into him. But he proved that water holds consciousness, and it's not just water. Any beverage, any food holds consciousness. You're changing the molecular structure of it, and you can purify it just by sending it positive energy. The highest vibration that you can send is love and gratitude. So what I do is I place my hands over my food or my drink, and I send it positive intention. So I say, thank you for restoring, rejuvenating, and refreshing all of my cells, for keeping me healthy and safe, for keeping all the systems of my body working, perfectly and in harmony, and for making this food the most useful source for me at this time, something along those lines. So take the time to do this. It is totally worth it. And like I said, you have a little more time now. So artistic expression and music are also wonderful things that you can be doing. We don't often have the time to, really play with art. Whether that be, literally art, or, it could just be, poetry or whatever it may be. And music is super healing for you. So listening to very high frequencies, like the solfeggio frequencies, will actually help heal you. I highly recommend that people use 432 hertz right now, which is the Schumann resonance. It's the vibration of planet Earth. This helps you to stay grounded, and it also helps to transmute the lower energies. So 432 hertz. You can go to YouTube. There's tons of free solfeggio frequencies. There's all different frequencies for different things. And there are octaves of them too. But when you listen to them, they're literally changing your molecular structure. And many of them are like 6-8 hours or longer. So you could actually listen to them in the background while you're sleeping, or while you're preparing your food, or whatever it is that you're doing. And they're actually going to be helping heal you. Make sure that you are not spending too much time watching television news. Okay. I personally do not watch the news. I only get my news from the internet or my phone. That way I don't have to deal with the sensationalism, and not that it's not sensationalized in writing, but not quite as much. And I can get to the point, and I can control what it is that I'm taking in. So I do recommend that you give yourself very limited time on the news if you can't avoid it at all, and try and get your news from other sources. Like I said, online is a better way. That way you can choose it. So I'm watching lots of funny movies right now, and inspiring movies, and that has done a tremendous amount to help keep me in a positive state of mind and in a positive vibration. Dancing, singing, laughing, enjoying your pets and your loved ones, exercising. Like I said, exercise has been super important for me because I hold this in my physical body. So the other day we were watching a movie, and during the whole movie I was stretching and doing yoga and just walking around my living room. And I had so much energy coursing through me, I had to do it. And it helped me, and I felt much better afterwards. Also, stay very well hydrated. You should be drinking often. Make sure that you are getting the proper nutrition, eat whole foods whenever possible, and supplements. Certainly vitamin C and vitamin D are really helpful, but make sure that you are taking care of your nutritional needs. But the most important thing with all of these survival tips is do them mindfully. Enjoy them. Make everything an experience. Say, wow, it's just so nice that I have this time and this opportunity to do this. Usually I rush through this and I don't really have a chance to enjoy it. Now you have the chance to enjoy it, so do so. Okay. And the cool thing is all of those things are available to us. It doesn't matter if we're in quarantine. So this is an ancient Sufi saying. I actually picked this up off of an Eckhart Tolle video. He was speaking about the spiritual opportunity that we're having at this time. And he says, when the ego weeps for what it has lost, the spirit rejoices for what it has found. And it's actually a paraphrase of an ancient Sufi saying. But basically, you know, yeah, things are changing and we're losing things, but we need to lose things in order to make space for the new. And this is a new beginning. And it's going to be a little challenging in the meantime until things settle down, but we are going to get through this. So you may have an inner knowing right now that this is a time of great opportunity, like so many spiritual teachers are talking about right now. And you may feel called to make a difference out there and to share your light in your personal way. There's no wrong way to do this. Like I said, mainly what you're doing is you're doing it by example. If you're tired of feeling helpless, anxious, and worried, you're in the right place, okay? There are a lot of tools here that will help get you back on track. And like I said, at the end of this, we're going to be talking about a course that I'm kicking off, and you can get a little extra support by participating in that. So, you know, just consider, could this coronavirus actually be a catalyst in the divine plan and the ascension that's happening on planet Earth? And consider it. And when you consider that, you open up to inspiration, and you might receive guidance from your angels and guides as to how it is impacting. And that'll keep you in a more positive state of mind when you're dealing with all of the challenges. So you yourself want to awaken, and you want to help others awaken, and you really want to follow your heart and find your purpose. So you're in the right place if these things resonate with you. Okay, so we talked about self-care, but there's a couple of other things that I want to touch on. Everyone needs extra sleep right now. Do not force yourself to stay in your old routine if you don't need to. If you are one of those people who is in quarantine, give yourself time for extra sleep. And the reason for that is, as these densities are being pushed out of our body needs more time to integrate, to process, and to anchor in the higher vibrations. So extra sleep should be a priority for you right now. Make sure you're also spending time focusing inwards. Ask yourself a lot of questions. Be curious. Have a child's mind. Ask questions as if you don't know the answer, and the universe will bring the answers to you. You may not receive it in the moment, but you will receive the answer in the coming days, weeks, or months. So that's actually called an affirmation. Many of you have heard of affirmations, where you state a positive statement. But when you ask a question like why or how of the universe, it actually, your brain starts working like Google, and it searches until it gets the answer. So if you say, how is it that I'm managing so well in this unstable environment? Your mind is going to search for answers of how you are coping really well. Okay, and new ideas and inspirations will come to you when you ask these affirmations. So it's time to let go. Okay, as I mentioned before, we have to release things in order to make room for the new. So you can start with your physical environment. I always spend a lot of time when I notice that I need to go through some kind of change, when I'm feeling I'm struggling. The first thing I do is look in my environment and see what's happening around me. If I see that things are out of order and there's clutter, you know, that's the first place I go. But I do it with the intention that I'm making space for something new. So as I release something, as I donate it or throw it in the garbage or whatever, I thank it for its service. I thank it for serving me. and I set it free. And I say to the universe that I'm releasing this and making space for the new. And I might actually command in what that new is that I'm desirous of. So again, we have to let go of the old so that we can embrace this new beginning and make space for the new and higher opportunities to come our way. We need to choose, okay, and not be in reaction mode. So that means that you need to be aware of what's going on internally. You have to be aware of your thoughts. You have to be aware of your emotions. Feeling your emotions is a very good thing. Most of us have been taught not to feel our emotions. It can be very uncomfortable. And so we tend to stuff them. Emotion, think of the word emotion. It's energy in motion. Emotions are meant to move. They should move through us. We experience them and then they pass. If we're not feeling our emotions, especially at challenging times like this, we're going to be creating all of these energy blockages in our body, and those things eventually become the root cause of pain, illness, and disease. So now is the time to let it all up. Let it go. You can imagine yourself like a glass of champagne, and imagine all of the energy that is dense and heavy that does not serve, or is like those little bubbles, and they're just bubbling up to be released into the air. And as you release that, you're making space for more divine energy in your physical being. So this is a time of heightened intuition. So make sure that you're asking a lot of questions. And here's a really important tip. Writing it down is super powerful. Anything that we write, we're anchoring it into the third dimension. And that means that there's a better chance that we can manifest what it is that we're desirous of. So just thinking it isn't as powerful. But when you physically write those questions down, when you physically write what your goals are, you're actually taking a first step and manifesting it into the physical plane. Like I said, your thoughts are electric, your emotions are magnetic. Together they create your beliefs, which are electromagnetic. And that is another important step. But the final step is actually putting it on paper, writing it down, having a vision board, putting it in your journal, whatever it is, that will help you to manifest in the physical plane. One other point I want to make, before you go to bed is also really important time for you to get clear with your intentions. We talked about this before. Starting off your day right is super important because it creates momentum for the day, but ending your day right is also very important. Because it's going to help you to reprogram your subconscious mind while you're sleeping. And also it keeps you in a higher vibration while you're sleeping so that you can access the higher realms. If you're vibrating in a low frequency when you go to bed, you're not going to be able to receive as much as you're sleeping. And we receive a tremendous amount of information while we're sleeping, downloads. We may not be consciously aware of them, but we do receive. And when we're holding those lower frequencies, we can't receive quite as much. So saying a little prayer before you go to sleep, putting yourself in your octahedron of light before you go to sleep, as we did earlier, would be super powerful. And asking to be escorted to the universities of the spirit to be trained in whatever it may be is another thing that you can add. So you can ask to be trained in how to cope during such challenging times, or how to step into your purpose, or how to be more of a light in the world. Whatever your intention is, ask right before you go to sleep. You holding that in your frequency is going to magnetize the answers to you. So I actually picked up a little prayer from Matt Kahan. You guys may know him and follow him. And one of the things that he shared was, "Thank you, beloved angels, for clearing my energy field and upgrading my reality while I take time to rest and recharge." So if you like that, you can use that one as well. Okay, so I want to remind you, even the worst storm passes. So right now we're in this misty stage, and it's an unknown future. And, you know, that can be pretty scary. The fear of the unknown is intense. So again, we need to be conscious and aware and make healthy and aligned choices and keep ourselves out of fear. And I'm not saying that fear isn't useful. Fear is useful in certain circumstances. For example, keeping yourself safe. You know, if you're not taking precautions right now, you're not being wise. And it's important that you are monitoring, you know, who you come in contact with, that you're washing your hands regularly, that you're keeping your immune system strong. So fear serves you in that you take personal responsibility for your energy and your body. But anything beyond that is not useful for you. And like I said, it's going to actually lessen your immune system, and it's going to make you more susceptible to illness or dis-ease. And I just want to remind you that you have the power to overcome any obstacle. You are an indestructible being. You are not you. I am not Claire. I am my soul. And my soul is having a physical experience as Claire. This is just a cloak that I'm wearing temporarily. I'm not going to be here forever. And when I go on to the next dimension, to the next beginning, it's just a rebirth for me. So the person that I am now, I don't want to identify too much with. I want to instead identify with my infinite self. Because when I identify with my infinite self, I can rise above the duality of what's happening on Mother Earth. Every energy we see as a spectrum, one side of the energy and the other side of the energy, and we tend to see them as bad or good. But the bottom line is they're all serving us. They're not bad or good. Sometimes we have to have challenges in order to create the impetus that we need in order to make change. So as we're going through right now. So we need to learn how to rise above the energy and just see it as all good. Somehow it's serving our soul. And when we do this, we are more empowered, and we see more possibility, and we can be more inspired, and we can live in greater fulfillment and joy. So we are going to come out of this. The storm will pass. We're going to come out of it, and we're going to come out of it stronger and even more powerful. And I want to remind you that ascension is inevitable, okay? We always return to source. We are infinite beings, we are indestructible, and we are eternal. I want to touch on this quickly. I want to make sure that we have time to get to the activation. So a deep emotional healing is taking place. Again, we're all being triggered. Just remember, if you get triggered, that means that that energy was already within you. Okay, someone cannot trigger something in you that isn't already theirs. So if something comes up for you in your interactions with people, whether they be physical or on the phone or internet, whatever it may be, if something is triggered in you, that's your personal responsibility to heal that energy. And know that it's coming from your ego, who wants you to be safe, who wants to try and protect you. So ask for the higher message. Ask to be able to see it from the perspective of your soul. All of the pain of the past is coming up right now to be released. All of these old energy structures of lower energies are not serving us any longer. And in order for the planet and for humanity to ascend, we need to let go of this emotional baggage. You can imagine it like it's an actual knapsack that you've been collecting all of this stuff in over the years, some of it from your parents, some from your teachers, your ministers, society, the collective, blah, 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 blah. And you can let that go, and you can choose now what does serve me. Also maintaining your boundaries. and sovereignty. We are all sovereign beings. We don't want to be holding on to other people's energy because, again, that is going to affect our manifestation process. When we are holding on to other people's energies, it's a part of the signal that we're sending out. It doesn't help them and it doesn't help us when we're holding on to their energy. We want to be whole, sovereign, and complete. Okay. So the ascension energy is really all about moving up into the consciousness of 500 and above, which is the consciousness of love. This is the map of consciousness by Dr. David Hawkins. He's deceased now, but he wrote a ton of books. I actually don't recommend his earlier books because by the time he passed, he had actually changed a lot of his perspectives on things. And one of the earlier things he said that was people could not move up tremendous amounts of consciousness in a lifetime. I think he said they can move up like 5 or 10 points, but towards the end of his life, he said that that is not true and that people can actually take quantum leaps in consciousness in a lifetime. And I think that was because at that earlier time, the planet was vibrating lower and therefore he couldn't see that other higher perspective. But many of the people right now are vibrating somewhere around neutrality and willingness. Many of the people on the planet. Lightworkers tend to be more in the range of 350 to 450. So you're in the acceptance and reason vibration. Basically in reason, this is when you have an insatiable desire for knowledge. You're constantly looking to learn. You gather. A lot of people plateau at the level of reason because they're gathering, but they're not acting. So you have to take what you're gathering, you have to act on it, you have to apply it, you have to make it part of your routine, part of your rituals. And by doing that, you will actually be able to transcend up into the higher vibration of love. So reason is like 4D and love is 5D. And when we are creating heaven on earth, that's when the critical mass on the planet is going to be vibrating at love or above. And when we're in that vibration of love, you can see that's when we're in flow. That's when we're in acceptance. Again, we're rising above the polarity. We're not seeing things as good and bad. So in the course that I'm going to be offering, we are going to be teaching you how to be in that level of consciousness. And this is the place where we truly live from our intuition. So we transcend the mind and we start to come into the heart and we truly live from our intuition. It's also when we truly live in unity consciousness and charity. And I know you can get your head around those things now, but it's when you actually live knowing that everything you're doing for yourself is actually serving all of humanity. And that anything that you're wishing on another, you're actually wishing on yourself. So when you're actually living from that consciousness awareness, you are vibrating at 500 or more in consciousness. And when you're in that vibration, life is a joy. Everything just starts to fall into place for you. So we are all accessing the consciousness of love, but we're not fully anchored into it. So we're going to be at a point, who knows whether it's going to happen in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 or 20, but we're going to be at a point where there's going to be a critical mass of people on the planet. And that's when we're going to be living in heaven on earth. So you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, I have that little light bulb. That was a symbol or an analogy that Spirit gave me years ago. And you can think of yourself as a light bulb on a dimmer. Okay, so when your dimmer switch is completely turned up, you're vibrating at enlightenment and peace and joy and love. Okay, but you can also have your dimmer set down. So depending on where you set it to, you can be experiencing a whole bunch of emotions as your dominant vibration. And like I said, right now, one of the dominant vibrations that we're working on transmuting on the planet is the vibration of fear. And you can see that's at a consciousness of about 100. So imagine that you are a light bulb and turn up your light bulb, turn up that dimmer, and allow yourself to connect with ultimate consciousness. The people who vibrate at 700 to 1,000, by the way, are like Christ and the Buddha. These are fully enlightened souls. And anyone who's vibrating at 600 and above is an ascended master. So those people are people who've lived many, many, many lifetimes. They've transcended their karma and they are on the path of enlightenment. Okay, so enough about that. This is the new course that I'm going to be kicking off, Weathering the Storm. It's an 8-week internet course. Classes begin on Tuesday, April 7th. It's going to be at 6:30 at night. There will be replays available if you can't make it. Every class will have a lesson. There will be an activation, and it will be recorded. So if you are participating in these classes, you will get the actual activation and the replay if you can't be on it live. I'm not going to go into all the details of the class right now. Let's move over into the activation. So I'd like everybody to get comfortable in their seat and begin to slow down your breath. As we talked about before, we want to bring our body into homeostasis. So by slowing down your breath, you'll be able to relax more deeply and access the higher levels of consciousness. So take a couple of really deep breaths, and I'd like you to breathe very slowly in your nose. Try and do it to the count of 8 or 10, and pause, and then exhale to the count of 8 or 10. Make sure you're taking deep belly breaths. And do it again, inhaling to the count of 8, holding, and exhaling to the count of 8. Belly button to spine on the exhale. Breathing in to the count of 8, all the way down, filling up the abdomen and then the lungs. Holding, holding, and exhaling to the count of 10. We're going to try and slow it down. Try to breathe in to the count of 10 this time. Holding, 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 and exhaling to the count of 10. And as I said, this is putting your body into healing mode and allowing all of your resources to go where they need to go. So relax and enjoy the activation. Welcome to this Infinity Healing activation to assist you in weathering the storm at these challenging times in support of you, your loved ones, and all humanity. Let's begin by closing our eyes and taking some deep and conscious belly breaths. Allow your belly to expand and contract at a rate and a rhythm that is natural for you. Before we move into the subtle realms, get yourself comfortable and allow your awareness to begin to shift off of the external plane and onto the internal. Settling in to the quiet in your heart. With each breath, feel your body relaxing more and more. Set your intention to be fully present, centered, and aware, putting aside the chaos of the world. Allowing your awareness to deepen and soften. Let go of all control and surrender to your infinite self. Your infinite self can do infinite healings for you, transmitting through your higher self, who will direct the flow, allowing in exactly the right amount of energy
that's in alignment with your highest good and deepest well-being. This is a time-released activation. Trust that there is a part of you that connects with you and knows exactly what it is that you need at this time. The infinity symbol is the antidote to a negative and imbalanced world. It brings you stillness and connects you to the 0 point field, the field of pure potential, where all things are possible. It balances the left and right brain and the divine masculine and feminine within, so you can achieve greater harmony within yourself, your relationships, and the world. The infinity symbol stands for equilibrium, harmony, and the interconnectedness of all things, reminding you that you are eternal, forever, limitless, and there are never-ending possibilities. I invite you now to bring your attention back to your heart space and imagine a golden infinity symbol running horizontal at your heart. See it cycling and settle your awareness into the center still point. Let's begin by setting our intention to the universe, because whatever we put in is what we'll get out. You can repeat quietly in your mind, I am open to the infinite. I am open to healing, clearing, and receiving infinite love and light. I surrender to the universe. Thank you for guiding me in aligning with my true and infinite self. Thank you for strengthening my relationship with my higher self and my team of angels, guides, masters, and teachers, so I may work with them with trust, confidence, and optimism. I'm open to breakthroughs and positive change and empowering paradigm shifts for the most benevolent outcome for all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So be it, and so it is. Let's invite in our angels, guides, masters, and teachers, and let's give them permission to do everything possible to assist us today in raising our vibration, opening, balancing, and harmonizing all of the chakras. Thank you for helping me to find inner peace, even in these times of outer turmoil. Thank you for sending a healing and cleansing wave around planet Earth. Take a nice deep breath in and feel yourself getting grounded and centered in your space. Imagine the planet surrounded in light. Imagine it bathed in this beautiful light, a healing, cleansing, and purifying light. Imagine this light easing all of the difficulties. Imagine planet Earth surrounded in healing light, bathed in a beautiful golden light, a healing, cleansing, and purifying light surrounding the entire planet. Imagine this light transmuting the virus and transmuting the energy of fear and alchemizing it all into love. At this time, suspend all disbelief. Allow yourself to believe in all possibility. Visualize everything healing on the planet becoming more perfect in every way. Your thoughts have power. At this time, focus on the brightest and highest version of humanity and the earth. Visualize a healthy global restructuring and a rebirthing of humanity, creating a new, harmonious earth system. As the old systems break down, nature and humanity seek wholeness. See a world vibrating in peace, love, joy, collaboration, and bliss. Despite the challenges, you can always return to the peace and serenity within. See yourself in the center of the storm. Let it swirl around you. Do not attach or place judgment. Just stay centered. You can place your arms up in the air and imagine a beautiful golden flame at your tailbone. Imagine it growing and expanding all the way up into your torso, up into your shoulders, up into your head and brain. Imagine this golden flame blazing and purifying all of the energy in your bioenergetic field. And repeat out loud, accelerate the purity, accelerate the purity, accelerate the purity. Notice the tingling in your hands and fingertips as you surrender this energy to Source for healing and transmutation for the highest good for all. Breathe in deeply. On every inhalation and exhalation, feel yourself opening up to all the good that God, Source, Universe has for you at this time. With every in-breath, imagine you're drawing in the light of the universe. Light enters on all levels of your being. Imagine you're being filled with pure life force energy, golden liquid light, charging and balancing all your chakras, oxygenating the cells, and stilling the mind. I'd like to invite you to join me in connecting with the earth and grounding yourself. Imagine yourself like a tree, sending energetic roots deep down into the earth. Run your roots through all the layers of earth, the layers of rock and crystal, all the way down to the crystal core, and wrap your roots around that core and feel yourself anchoring in. Feel the support of the Divine Mother. Feel her love as she holds space for you today. She's ready to heal and transform any of the energies that you're ready to release. So take another deep, slow breath in and place both of your hands on your heart. And now, focus your attention on the top of your head and imagine connecting to the energy of the great central sun, an infinite source of unconditional love, deep compassion, and radical forgiveness. Imagine this energy flowing in the top of your head, down through your body, down through every cell. See them all filling up with the energy of love, acceptance, compassion, and forgiveness. We now call upon your infinite self. It can do infinite healings for you. It'll transmit through your higher self who will direct the flow of energy, allowing in exactly what it is that you need at this time in alignment with your highest good and deepest well-being. Let's give your higher self permission to create a priority list for you now and to do a healing on everything on that list, restoring perfect health to your body and neutralizing any viruses and disease in your being. So let us begin by setting our intention with the universe. You can repeat quietly in your mind, I am open to the infinite. I am open to healing, clearing, and receiving infinite love, light, and guidance. I surrender to the universe. Thank you for guiding me in aligning with my true and infinite self. Thank you for assisting me in alchemizing anything in my energy field that is unlike love, transforming all fear and lower emotions with divine energy. I am open to breakthroughs and positive change and empowering paradigm shifts. Thank you for holding space for the healing of planet Earth and humanity at this challenging time. Thank you for lifting, elevating, and liberating all humanity from this present health crisis and virus. Thank you for deactivating the coronavirus and letting it come to completion, neutralizing all remaining energy on planet Earth and returning it to source for resolution and transmutation. Releasing all that it represents and all of its roots back to the moment of inception. Deep, slow breath in, bringing your attention back to your heart, tuning into the quiet. Envision an infinity symbol cycling, and as you tune in, settle your awareness into the center still point. This is the place and the space where the magic happens, the place where infinite miracles are possible. Breathe it into every cell on every level of your being. As we continue to go deeper, I invite you to use the power of your imagination and the power of your breath to visualize a beautiful golden wave of energy encircling the earth. Feel yourself grounded and centered in your pillar of light. Imagine this light changing the frequencies of this virus. Imagine this divine light going into all the viruses. Imagine all the molecules being desensitized and neutralized. Take a deep, slow breath in and feel how your energy system is being upgraded. Visualize the planet healing and all humanity being freed of this virus. See the planet as perfect in every way. Let's take another deep inhalation and pull up the energy from the center of the earth, from the crystalline core. Breathe it up your roots, just like a straw, and let it pool in your heart chakra. And exhale it now, breathing that energy out into the field, where it begins to create a cocoon of divine mother love, pure unconditional love, activating the space for a healing of love that will benefit all of humanity. Breathing in the divine nutrients. Feel yourself being fed at the soul level. You've created a sacred sanctuary of pure unconditional love to to embark upon this energy work. With every in-breath, imagine you're drawing in the light of the universe, and light enters all levels of your being, bringing you peace and tranquility. If there is any part of you that is interfering with, doesn't understand, is sabotaging, or is afraid of what is available for you today, would you like to receive a process to move those parts of you aside, to show them what is happening from the highest possible perspective so that all aspects of you can be on board with receiving and releasing the maximum throughout all levels of your being? If you would like that, say yes. Take a deep breath in and receive the energy as it's downloaded to you now. Would you like to receive an infinity healing to let go of any fearful, obsessive, anxious, and frantic thoughts and feelings associated with this current pandemic? If you would like that, say yes. Breathe in deeply and allow the energy to do its work. Would you like to receive an infinity healing to clear out any thoughts and feelings of helplessness, hopelessness, disempowerment, loss of control, and personal power associated with the current world challenges? Breathe it in. Would you like to receive an infinity healing to clear the fear of the unknown and fear of change, so you can fully access your personal power and will to effect change and transformation in your own life in this now moment, despite what's happening outside of you? If you'd like that, say yes and breathe it in. Would you like to receive an infinity healing to boost your immune system so that it can function at the most optimal levels, inviting in the alchemy of healing to unfold with ease, grace, and joy? If you'd like that, say yes and breathe it in. Would you like to receive an infinity healing to reunite you with the divine creator and the oneness so that you can be sovereign and free and serve humanity and Gaia in the highest way possible? Breathe that in and let it do its work. And would you like to receive an infinity healing to transmute and clear any past life trauma in your cellular memory, triggering any memories of plague, disease, famine, death, and loss of loved ones? Let it all be transmuted in this shower of light. And would you like to receive an infinity healing, clearing all anxiety and fear of getting sick or dying, letting it dissolve and clear fully on all levels of your body to root, cause, and core? Breathe that in and release it through the soles of your feet. Let it flush through you for Mother Earth to transmute Would you like to receive a process to release and transmute the karmic birth template that was encoded within our DNA by our fragmented and fear-based human egos after the fall from grace? If you would like that download, say yes and breathe it in. Breathe it in and let it transform the karmic codes back to divine light. And this completes the clearing portion of this activation. And now we will replace all that we have cleared so far with new patterns that are in greater alignment with your true identity as a conscious co-creator of your reality in accordance with the divine. Would you like to receive a download from God, Source, Universe to equip you with a total sense of peace, calmness, and clarity to approach life and any kind of situation from a balanced and centered state of being, and have this be your new default setting? If you would like that download, say yes and breathe it in. Would you like to receive a download from God, Source, Universe to boost your belief in your own personal power and strength, to have confidence and trust in your own abilities, to successfully deal with any challenge that life throws at you? Breathe that in. Would you like to receive a download from God, Source, Universe to strengthen your ability to be flexible and creative in riding the waves of life's constant changes with ease and grace? Breathe that in and receive. Would you like to receive a download from God, Source, Universe that enables you to know what it feels like, sounds like, looks like, and is like to experience an easy and graceful ascension in your body and energy field now? Would you like to receive a download from God, Source, Universe so you can feel safe and peaceful and cultivate your gifts and share them with planet Earth at this critical time in our ascension timeline? Breathe it in and focus your attention on the brightest vision of Earth and humanity that you can imagine. And now we move into the integration phase as these energies continue to do their work in your field. Declare now, I am that I am. As I bring in the 0-point harmonics, the energies of universal harmony that are beneficial in bringing polarized energies into balance, take a moment of silence to tune into the spark of creation where everything is birthed. This is the source of all life. This is where we do the work. Feel this beautiful energy pulsing. Let the crystalline light blush through you. And while we're here, let's download the antibodies for the coronavirus. All particles have their counterpart in 0 point, so the antibodies for corona exist here as well. Let's command it in and let it in. Let it elevate your frequency and transform your cells. And now imagine you're sharing the antibodies with all of planet Earth. Imagine the collective being filled with these antibodies and the disease being brought to completion. See it deactivated and brought back to neutrality. See it neutralizing from our energy field. We're restoring equilibrium and bringing your immune system into balance, updating your DNA and RNA, updating your energy field. 0 point is where we do the most effective transformations. Once again, see an infinity symbol cycling at your heart, and another over your crown, and one beneath your feet. You're doing a full system upgrade, aligning all the chakras, balancing anything that's out of sync, so you can be fully empowered. Releasing all discordant energies and transmuting all that we have cleared with divine light. Activating our divine soul blueprint in our DNA and igniting our light bodies. Activating your personal path of light and your soul's ascension plan. Take a moment to seed your personal intentions in this fertile field. Get focused and clear on what it is that you'd like. Imagine yourself anchoring it into your field. Let it dissolve all fear, anxiety, and worry in your energy field and the collective, lifting us all up higher into the frequency of love. This is a light-infused, fertile field. Let's thank our angels, guides, masters, and teachers, and our infinite self for deactivating the virus wherever it exists in the world, bringing it to completion with divine love, deactivating any harmful qualities, bringing it to union and balance with ease and grace, for the most benevolent outcome of all, returning planet Earth into a greater state of unity, harmony, and balance, greater than ever before. Envision a wave of divine light circling the planet so everyone feels safe, loved, cared for, and at peace. All the fear, hate, and greed on the planet has been reset to 0. We've deactivated all corruption and Armageddon timelines to unfold in divine timing, anchoring in the energies of divine love and unity, and updating the Earth blueprint for Gaia's ascension. We invoke a caring universal system to come to life on the planet, resetting the new Earth blueprint. Bring validations of love into your body and feel every cell of your body energized and recharged with golden sunlight. Imagine that energy running down into your crown, through your spine, and out your feet, fully anchoring it back into the earth plane. And now I offer you the autopilot command. This is a run until done activation that will continue these energies working on, in, through, and around you until you experience the maximum shift. If you would like to receive this and have it activated within you, please say yes. And so it is. It will continue to work on your bioenergetics in the days, weeks, and months ahead. And we now ground this activation completely and fully. This healing activation is complete. May the entire world be filled with love, radiant health, vitality, bliss, abundance, joy, and peace. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So be it, and so it is.
Welcome back. You can bring yourself back into your body, back into the room. Pay attention to how you're feeling. If you'd like to put any words to it, you can feel free to put it in the chat box. And if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A box. I see that there's some questions already, and I'm going to get to them in a moment. But while you're getting yourself back, you can take a moment to put your questions in Q&A, and I'll be happy to get to them shortly. So you have just done a tremendous amount of good for yourself and for humanity and the planet. Just you visualizing all of this positivity, just you managing to invoke the emotions of peace and joy and positive future is creating carrier waves so that this energy can manifest more powerfully on the planet. Just so you know, all manifestation is taking spiritual energy and anchoring it into the physical plane. If it stays up here, it's just an idea, it's a concept. When we ground it into the physical plane, that's when we become the creator. And that's when we're actually in the manifestation process. So remember, if you can see it in your mind's eye and you can feel it, this is how you create your reality. So each time you sense your energy is dropping, ask yourself, where are you at? Try and identify what emotion it is you're feeling. And you can go to that map of consciousness. A lot of times that's helpful in helping you to discern where you are vibrationally. And it's not always easy to bring yourself all the way up to the emotion of love or joy, but that's okay. If you could just bring yourself up one level or two levels, that's usually enough to make a difference in how you're feeling. And eventually you'll be able to get yourself up even higher. But ask yourself, where are you? So I want to remind you, this is a time for you to be curious. Ask a lot of questions. Don't assume anything any longer. The world that you live in now is not the world you lived in just a couple of weeks ago. You are living in a completely different world, and everything is going to change, and we are going to have to adapt. So kind of have a child's mind and have fun and be curious. Ask yourself, gee, I wonder if I try this, if it'll work. I noticed in the chat box, a couple of people had made some comments about they were trying certain things. I want to remind you that a lot of these techniques that I'm sharing with you are very powerful, but they're going to take a little time because you have to get in alignment with them and you have to believe in them. Again, they're not going to work if you don't believe in them. So I want you to put aside time to actually practice them. And if that means locking yourself in the bathroom or going outside and spending time in nature where you could be alone, you're going to have to ask for it. I too, have been struggling with the quarantine. I love my fiance and I love spending time with him, but, we're on top of each other now. And so we're each making time for each other, where we're focused on each other and we're not distracted by whatever, the media or the phone or anything. But in the time when we are together, we're making sure that we're, really enjoying each other's company and we're being present and we're being mindful. And in the other times, I'm working on myself and I'm making sure that I'm doing everything I possibly can to support myself in healing. So I do want to remind you, I'm kicking off these new classes, which are called Weathering the Storm. It's going to be a course. It's 8 weeks. They're live sessions that will be on Tuesday nights at 6:30 Eastern on Zoom. So the same platform that you're on right now. The classes will be about 2 hours. It really depends on the energy of the group. Every class is going to have a lesson. We're going to go a lot more deeply into energy management tools. If you already took my Lightworker classes, if you took that course, this is going to be a lot of new material. We're going to touch on some of the basics, of course, but this is going to be expanded and we're going to spend a lot more time on managing your energy field. So this class is geared not just to Lightworkers, but also to empaths and sensitives, because this is going to be a challenging time for you and you really need to know how to manage your energy field better. So as I said, if you can't make the live call, you will get the replay and you will get the activation. So you can download it for future use. There's also going to be a Q&A and you can email your questions in also if you can't be on the live call, and they will get addressed on the call. We're also going to be doing a lot of different exercises to help you to awaken to your intuition and your gifts and bring them to the next level. Some of the topics that we're going to be covering are keeping your vibration high despite what's happening outside of you, staying centered and grounded in turbulent times. How can we transmute our fear and embrace change? When we have fear of the unknown, it can be really hard for us to take action. So this is an important topic. Managing your energy field. As I said, these are tools and techniques for empaths and sensitives. We're going to be talking about how to strengthen your auric field for greater empowerment and energy. We'll be talking about a lot of different things there. Our auric field oftentimes has all different leaks, and you're going to learn how to keep it healthy and strong. You're going to learn more about your multidimensional anatomy, your gifts and your higher senses. You're going to be learning about how you can take place in the ascension, which is basically alchemy of self. It's awakening to your infinite self, your soul, who you truly are. We're going to be working with the higher chakras, the ones that are outside of the physical body. Most of you are familiar with the 7 major chakras that are in the physical body, but we have many more. So we're going to be focusing on the ones that are outside of your body, because these are essential in us ascending as well. And we're going to also be talking about the emotional pain body and how to heal it, as well as integrating the shadow self. We'll be talking about the universal laws. People who are struggling in their life are struggling because they're not working with the universal laws. So when you know these laws and you work with them, you have greater flow in your life and you don't feel as much resistance, and things just happen more easily for you in general. We're going to be talking a lot about manifestation and how to improve your manifestation abilities and get more of what it is that you desire. And we're going to be working a lot in the quantum, the 0-point field, and we'll be transmuting all different types of energy blocks. So that's the overview on the class. Since we are in such challenging times, I actually created a sliding scale for these classes. I do recommend that you register for all 8 weeks, because each class is going to build upon another. So you're going to be behind if you miss a class or two. So you can choose how much you want to pay. You can pay $15 a class, $25, $30, or $35 a class. And there are multiple payment plans. So when you go to my website, you'll be able to find it. I'm going to send out an email also in the coming days, but you can pay in full, or you can pay in 2 monthly payments, or you can pay in 8 weekly payments. So I wanted to make it as easy as possible for people right now. I know everybody needs this, but also a lot of people are suffering financially right now. So I wanted to make it as easy as possible for everyone. And if you're one of those generous people who's going to be able to contribute on the higher end, know that you're subsidizing some of the people on the lower end. So I thank you for that. And if for any reason at any point you want to cancel, all you have to do is let me know, and we'll cancel any of the future payments that you have coming. So I'm going to go to Q&A and answer what we have here, if it'll come up. Okay, it doesn't want to come up. Okay. I know Anne had a question that I read earlier, and she was saying that she's been having a lot of knee problems, and she didn't have this prior to the whole coronavirus outbreak. And she was wondering, you know, could it be connected, and how she would deal with it. So yes, it most likely is connected, Anne, because I know you are empathic, and I don't know, again, you know, different types of empaths. Some people tend to feel things more in their body. Other people tend to feel more of the emotional, but you might have both. Either way, it's a blessing, not a curse. You just need to learn how to work with it. So the first thing I always do is I go to Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. And there's a wonderful guide in here where you can look up whatever physical problem you're having, and then you can find out what the probable cause is and the new emotional thought pattern. So if you don't know Louise Hay, which I'm sure you do if you're on this call, but you know, she cured herself of cancer by using affirmations and healing her emotional baggage. So you said you were having knee problems. So that represents changes in direction in life and the ease of movements. It also has to do with pride and ego, stubborn ego and pride, inability to bend, fear, inflexibility, won't give in. So you should do a little journaling on that, Anne, and try and get in deeper touch with how maybe you're not being flexible at this time, and what are you resisting. Obviously, there's a lot going on right now, so it's natural that you're going to be feeling these things, but feel it. And if you allow yourself to feel it, the emotion can move through you, and then it's no longer going to be creating this stimulus in your body that's going to create the pain. So many of you know I had a frozen shoulder years ago. The doctor said it would take 2 years to heal. I actually healed it in under 3 months, just by doing a lot of energy and emotional work. Well, right before the coronavirus hit, I told you I got hit a little earlier. I was feeling this tremendous pain in my shoulder, and it was reminiscent of what I had been experiencing years ago when I had the frozen shoulder, and I was like, oh my God, I don't want this to go that way. And so this is exactly what I did. I looked it up, and I found, you know, that I was in resistance to some change, and, you know, I was able to dig deeper into it. It's a great thing to just do some time of schedule some time for journaling and stream of consciousness. And then there's all different energy techniques. You know, if you're Reiki trained, you can certainly send Reiki to yourself, but there's many other techniques that you can use in order to release emotional baggage. You know, I have the work of Dr. Bradley Nelson, so I actually can identify the emotion and clear it that way. This is something that we will talk about a little in the course. You can also use the ask and receive prayer in order to get guidance, and it's very simple. Basically, I like to use ask and receive right before I go to bed, in case there's something that I'm looking to get resolution on. And a lot of times I get the answers while I sleep. and I wake up with a new perspective. So the way that it goes is there's a part of my being that already knows how to heal and release, and then you fill in the blank. So this knee pain, all that it represents, and all of its roots to cause and core. That part of my being is willing to inform the rest of me now. It's doing so now with grace and ease. My mind, body, and spirit are receiving this information. Information transfer is now complete. And I take a deep breath and I send positive energy into whatever part of the body that's giving me pain. So that's just another simple technique, a quick and easy one. It's called Ask and Receive. And I can give you more information on that in the course as well. If you want something about that, you can email me. So also in Louise Hay's book, then she has the affirmations that rewrite this thought pattern that's not serving you. So her affirmations for the knees are: I easily flow with change. My life is divinely guided. I'm always going in the best direction. I am flexible and flowing. Forgiveness, understanding, compassion. I bend and flow with ease, and all is well. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll write those affirmations on a Post-it note, post it around the house, and make sure that I say it multiple times to myself. Another thing I might do is tap the affirmations into me. We're going to talk a little bit about EFT in the course as well, which is a super powerful technique for releasing emotions. So, Anne, you might want to also try some EFT to release the pain that you're having in your knees. So, all right, I'm going to stop the share, and maybe this will help me access the Q&A. For some reason, it doesn't want to open. Okay, here it is. That's why. Okay, for class, will there be lifetime access to the replays? No, there will not be lifetime access to the replays. You will get the replays and you will be able to download them to your computer. They will be accessible for at least, 3 months or 4 months. But I do not have a membership site at this point. And once I transition over to a membership site, I can make them accessible forever. But as of right now, I don't have the capacity to do something like that. But I save the replays. So if for some reason, it didn't download on your computer and you needed it, you could always email me and I would send you it. What does the bottom of the spine represent? It is just grounding, or does it say something else? Well, the lower back you can look up also. So I would look up, you always want to look up multiple things if it's something that could be more than just one. So first, let me look up the lower back. I guess I have to go to back first. Spine, let me go to spine first. Spinal curvature, that wouldn't come in. Basically, spine says flexible support of life. And the new thought pattern is I am supported by life. There's a couple of other specific things to the spine that I don't think would be relating to you. And lower back, I have to go to back, and then lower back, fear of money, lack of financial support. I trust the process of life. All I need is always taken care of. I am safe. So, I'm going to teach you a lot of other techniques and ways to tune into these energies. This is always a good starting point. And like I said, once you find out what it says in the book, then you can just do a little searching, soul searching, and ask what exactly you can do. Ask your angels and guides what you could do to heal yourself. When I had the frozen shoulder, that's what I did every single morning. I woke up every morning and I said, what can I do to help myself today? And every day, Spirit gave me another suggestion. I didn't even follow the advice of the doctors. I just followed what Spirit told me. In 2 months, I was able to do this. The doctor said, you're completely healed. I said, I'm not going to be completely healed until I could do a reverse prayer pose, which you can't see right now. But I was able to do a reverse prayer pose in 3 months. So that's when I considered myself to be completely healed. So thank you all for being on the call. I'm going through the chat box right now because I know there were some questions there. You know, staying grounded is one of the most important things that you could do. Those grounding cords, first of all, you are an electromagnetic being and you need to be plugged into both power sources in order for your energy system to work well. The not being grounded is the biggest epidemic on the planet right now, probably worse than coronavirus, I dare say. But most people today are not grounded, especially anyone who's in anxiety is most likely not grounded. So just working on getting yourself grounded frees up the energy so it can flow through you. And then it doesn't get short-circuited in your energy system. One of the things we'll be talking about in the course is activating your higher chakras, because many of us right now are working with our lower chakras, and it's like working with a lower level electrical box. We need to upgrade the electrical box in order to handle the higher energy that's coming down on the planet. So that'll be another thing that we'll be talking about. So yeah, you know, some of you are stuck at home with family and you're not getting all the time that you need to yourself. You're going to have to carve out some time. And when you carve out that time, make a plan, make it productive, ask what you can do for yourself, and go into these things with a curious and childlike mind. We have a lot of empaths and light workers on the call. I'm so glad that you came. Great, Chris, you're claiming your master alchemist status. I like that. Yeah, you're gonna have to, Lori, ask and, you know, honor your boundaries. And each day, at the end of the day, ask yourself what you did well, instead of beating yourself up, and instead of being upset that maybe you've lost your temper or that you weren't able to keep yourself grounded, and you weren't able to enjoy your time with family. Instead of beating yourself up for it, just ask yourself what you did well that day and try and pat yourself on the shoulder for a few things. You will make progress. It might take a little while, but then all of a sudden you're there. And then it gets easy. But in the beginning, you're creating structures in your energy field that are connecting with your thoughts, your emotions, and your beliefs. And so if you're not fully there and you're not fully in alignment with it, they may not work as effectively for you in the beginning. But then you're just going to say, activate my octahedron of light, and it's going to be done. And you're already going to feel yourself in peace once you get good at this. Sleeping. Oh, this is a great one. I'm glad this came up. Thank you, Janet. So a lot of people are having difficulty with their sleeping. We process a tremendous amount of energy out in our sleep. This is another reason why it's really important to set your intentions before you go to sleep so that you can ask for a peaceful, restful, and rejuvenating night of sleep. But a lot of what's coming up in your dreams is not necessary for you to analyze. A lot of it is just you releasing excess energy, and may be from this lifetime or past lifetimes. So your body is hyper awake, and that is excess energy. You need to be a little bit more physical before you go to bed. I'm going to actually teach you in the course a technique where you can get a better restful night of sleep by working with the vagus nerve, which actually calms down your body and allows you to have a peaceful and more restful night of sleep. It's just a quick little exercise that you can do for a minute or two, and it helps you to have a wonderful night of sleep. And so that's something you can look forward to in the course. I'm glad that you feel the sacredness of this time. That's beautiful. And acknowledging that and giving gratitude for all the good things that are coming out of it, and that you're doing the best that you can right now, and acknowledging what you're doing well is great. So, you're picking up a lot of negativity. People aren't respecting your boundaries, Lori. Yeah, definitely use the octahedron now. But remember, you don't want to lock in the other energy, the bad energy, the bad juju. So make sure that you let that be absorbed by the roses before you seal yourself in your octahedron of light. So you can assemble it. You can imagine everybody else's energy and the energy of the collective being absorbed from it. You can actually put an octahedron of light on different areas of your body also. So for example, Anne was having the knee problem, put an octahedron on your knee and, give it the intention that you want it to heal the knee. You can actually put ideas that you have also outside of your octahedron. So if there's something that is stressing you out, something that's coming up for you, might be a creative project. When I get stressed out about things, I take them out of my octahedron of light and I put them outside of my field. And then I just invite them back into my field when I'm ready to work on them. And I could be a lot more creative when I do that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You'll be able to access all of the replays, and when you register for the class, you just got a link to Zoom, and that link is actually going to bring you to the replay. But like I said, I'm also going to be sending out an email to everybody with the replay, so you'll be able to get it from the email as well. Feel free, by the way, to share this webinar with anyone. The link that you just had that brought you here, you can share that with others. It's going to be available for the coming weeks. Why is it when I speak to someone on the phone, I feel so drained afterwards? Jennifer asks. Great question. It doesn't matter whether you're talking to the person on the phone or whether you're in their presence. You have energetic cords that connect you with any person that you have a relationship with, from the most minor acquaintances, your Starbucks barista, to your best friend, your family, your loved ones. Anyone that you have a relationship with, you have energetic cords that are connecting you. So if you're not keeping your energy field in integrity and sovereign, when being an empath, you tend to be an overgiver. And most of the people that come to you are probably asking for things from you. They're asking for help and assistance. And that means that they're actually draining your energy field. This isn't something to be afraid of. It's just something that needs to be managed. People talk about energy vampires. I don't like using that phrase, because to me, it's like judging it. It's saying it's a negative thing. It's a natural thing to give and receive energy with people that you interact with. You just need to know how to be in integrity and how to manage it. So I'm going to look at the Q&A box one more time. I will be sending out an email in a reminder on these classes. Ivory, thank you for that. And I'm glad that I could offer these flexible payment options. I think it's really needed at this time. So I'm so grateful that I could be here, that I could be of service. There's a lot of good information out there. And if you start implementing it in your life, you will find that you're going to feel much freer. You're going to feel much more fulfilled. You're going to feel lighter, and you're going to be enjoying more of your days. So I encourage you to join the course. You'll have a support system of people who can help you get through this difficult time, and we can get you started on your new beginning as a whole new aligned individual, opening up to all of your special gifts that you have not been able to access up until now. That's what 5D is all about. It's about us accessing more of our brain, specifically the prefrontal cortex, where many of our gifts are residing right now, and they're dormant. A lot of them are also awakening in our DNA. Many of you know we have more than 12 strands of DNA. We have, well, not more, we have more than 2 strands of DNA. We have a total of 12 strands of DNA. And those DNA strands that were once claimed to be junk DNA are actually our potential. Those are the things we haven't tapped into yet. So as we rise in vibration, as we ascend, more and more of these things become available to us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen to 432 Hertz. Make sure you spend time visualizing multiple times a day what you're intending for planet Earth. Notice when you're dropping in vibration and send out more positive vibrations. Visualize what it is that you really do want. Have that childlike, curious mind. Ask a lot of questions now. Your intuition is going to be expanded. Also notice what you're vibrating at, and if it is low, try and just knock yourself up a notch or 2 notches, just so that you can get some relief, and just so that you can start working on, healing your body and your mind and all the levels of your energy field. Practice with these things, because once you believe in them and you know that they work, like I said, all you have to do is activate them, and then they do work for you. But until you have the experience with it, you may not be able to take that leap of faith. Last thing, you did receive a healing today. Make sure you drink a lot of water. This is going to help you to detoxify and release all of the densities. Also, bless that water. So send it a blessing to restore, rejuvenate it, and refresh your energy field and your cells, and to uplift you and better prepare you to embrace your day, embrace this change, and come out on top. I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you so much for being here today. I have a YouTube page also, by the way, that has a little blessing on water. So if you want to go there, you can hear the whole script again. Thank you again. I look forward to seeing you in the Weathering the Storm course. And as you know, I'm available should you have any questions at hollywood.claire, C-L-A-R-E, @gmail.com, and healthyalchemy.com. God bless. And let's together stay focused on a healthy, happy, and prosperous world. Thank you for being here and for your participation in this global healing. Love you all.